In today's video, I want to talk to you about why I believe standard visitation should not be standard. What's up guys, my name is Justin and welcome back to my channel. Now today's video might be a little different than other videos I've posted in the past, and it might come off as somewhat of a rant, but it's something I wanted to talk about and share my thoughts and opinions on. This whole topic was brought up when a group of my friends and I were sitting around having a conversation and the topic of standard visitation was brought up. My wife explained to us what standard visitation was. Basically, the father gets every other weekend, 1 day a week with their kid, I think 1 night a week. They alternate holidays, and the father or the non-custodial parent gets extended visitation through the summer. And one of my friends and I, we looked at each other and we were questioning, like, that is what standard visitation is? Standard. And if you don't know what the definition of standard is, I'll go ahead and throw it up on the screen right now. So it basically states standard is what is accepted as normal, meaning that's what normal visitation should be for fathers. And we looked at each other and we're like, that's what normal should be. Like, how is that normal standard visitation? And that's kind of why I decided to make this video, was because I don't understand how when a family separates, the child goes from seeing one of the parents, usually the dad, goes from seeing them 30 days to now only 8 days a month. How is that standard? How and why should that be considered normal? So if you don't know or you haven't been through this yet, when a family separates, it's usually split into the custodial family, which is the family the child resides with on a day-to-day basis, and then it is split into the non-custodial parent, where basically the non-custodial parent is the parent that is regulated visitation time with their child. That's usually the father. The custodial parent is usually the mother. So the first thing I just want to say is, I get the fact that the mother carried the child for 9 months. She gave birth to the child, but I don't understand how that makes her more fit than the father to take care of the child. And you could have a great dad that is just as capable of taking care of the child as the mother is, but yet they get stuck with standard visitation by the courts. And I know that this doesn't happen in every scenario. For example, I personally get 50-50 custody of my son. It's not necessarily in writing, but my ex and I have agreed that we will share 50-50 custody of our son, meaning I get him Sunday to Sunday, then we switch, she gets him Sunday to Sunday. Now, not everybody has that option, and a lot of the times, most fathers get stuck with standard visitation. And I totally get it. There are a lot of deadbeat dads out there that want nothing to do with their children, or at least very little to do with them as possible. But this rant wouldn't be for them then. This is for the fathers that want to have a huge role in their child's life, but are getting stuck and screwed with standard visitation just because they believe the mother is more fit to take care of their child. And like I said before, standard visitation usually means alternating every other weekend, 1 day of the week, and rotating holidays and a little more extended visitation time during the summer. Now, I'm not exactly sure how standard visitation was created, but from what I've read, I believe it was created because they believed that more frequent visitation and the bouncing back of the child was disruptive to them. But I mean, honestly, what is more disruptive than a child going from seeing their father 30 days or every single day out of the month to only seeing them 8 days out of the month? Like, I don't understand how standard visitation could mean such a reduction of time that child gets to see their other parent, usually the father. The child will go from being loved and go from learning and living with 2 parents to now being controlled by 1 parent. And now I believe visitation needs to be set with the child's best interest at mind. So now if a parent lives out of town and they're not able to commit to more frequent visitation, then yes, standard visitation would apply, And I believe both parents would agree to that. If one of them was to move out of town for a job or something like that, they wouldn't be able to commit to more frequent visitation. But for a parent that lives a mile or 2 miles or in the same exact town as the mother, I don't understand why standard visitation is set for every other weekend. That doesn't make sense to me. And now I believe standard visitation should be 50-50. Each parent should have an equal say in every matter that involves their child. Now when the child is with the mother provides for the child. And when the child is with the father provides for the child. And then when changes are needed because the parents aren't able to stick to the agreement for whatever reason, then the parents work together to come up with an agreement. The parents should work together to come up with an agreement that has the child's best interests at heart. I don't think it should be left to one parent to have sole control over the child and make every single decision for that child. And that is what I believe standard visitation should be. Now, if a parent is seen not fit for a 50-50 agreement, then modifications should be made from there. If the court system finds a parent not seen fit to provide for their child or take care of them, or the child isn't fit to live with them, then they should get a reduction of visitation. A good father shouldn't have to fight the system to get more time with his child. I believe that modifications should be made with the interests of the child at mind, not to make the father have to fight for time with his kid. And going back to the 1 night a week visitation agreement thing, I don't know many people that do this, but if this is something that people actually do, how do they not see this as disruptive for the child's life? They basically have to get bundled up, travel with their dad, unbundle, eat dinner, maybe do some homework, bundle back up, travel back to their mom's house, get unbundled, go to bed. Why does it not make sense for the child to stay the night at the father's house that night? But instead, they have to bounce the kid back and forth rather than give the father and the child the time together that they deserve. So like I said before, I believe 50-50 visitation should be standard, if possible. I get there's different circumstances out there. Not everybody's situation is the same, but 50-50 should be normal. That is what normal visitation should be for the father. If modifications do need to be made, then work back from the 50-50. Don't make a father have to fight for more time with his child. If a father works out of town or isn't available to do 50-50, start at the 50-50, then work backwards. I don't understand why that is not normal. It doesn't make sense to me to make a good father, work extremely hard and pay thousands of dollars to get extra time with his child. And I know I'm not speaking from personal experience because I haven't personally gone through this, but I mean, that to me should make more sense. Like I haven't been through it, but I feel for the dads that have to go through it. And so this was kind of brought up a little bit when my ex and I were first going through our divorce decree type thing, whatever, our divorce. And she brought up the idea of standard visitation. And she started to explain a little bit of what it was, saying that I would get to see him every other weekend. And I got up, left the room. I was not having any of that. As bad as that sounds, I might have sound confrontational or whatever, but as a father, I did nothing wrong to have my rights and time taken away from my child. I love my kids. I will always be there for my kids. I will treat my kids with respect. I am just as capable of taking care of my children as a mother is. And most fathers are. There are a lot of fathers that should not have time with their kids, and they probably don't care to have time with their kids and probably won't fight to have time with their kids. But having standard visitation be what is normal, to where the father gets very limited time with his child that is regulated by the courts and by somebody else, that's just crazy. That does not make sense to me. And yeah, like I said before, I mean, I know I haven't personally gone through this, so I'm not speaking from any personal experience, but as a father and as somebody that loves the time that I get with my children, I want as much time with them as I get. I know I only get 50-50. Would I love more? Absolutely. Can I have more? According to our agreement, no, because we agreed on 50-50. So that is what I get. anything was to jeopardize my time to where I wouldn't be able to get that time with him, then yeah, I would definitely fight it. I don't feel like my time should be taken away from me just because of the system or what, I don't know, whatever. Now I'm just rambling. So like I said before, I know this won't apply to everybody, but since the topic was brought up between a friend and I thought I would share my thoughts and opinions on it and why I think standard visitation should not be standard. That should be a reduction of visitation. Standard visitation should be 50-50. And then each parent work together and agree on other things as needed. Okay. All right, guys, so what I want you to do is comment down below if this is something you've personally have gone through. And if you have, how has this impacted your relationship with your children? And if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. No, all of my videos won't be like this. Usually I'm coming at you with different tips and tricks to help you improve your life. So please hit that subscribe button and throw me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And as always, let's keep growing.